You're watching Rurouni K95's anime review on Himouto Umaru-chan. Hi Ruronis, this is your pal Rurouni K95 here. Today's anime review. We get to cover a brand new anime series from 2015. For today's anime review is Himouto Umaru-chan. Himouto Umaru-chan is a Japanese manga series by Sankaku Head. It began serialization in Shueisha Seinen magazine, Weekly Young Jump, on March 14th, 2013. It has been collected in 12 tankobon volumes. An alternate version was serialized for 2 chapters in Shueisha's monthly magazine, Miracle Jump, in 2012. An anime television series adaptation aired in 2015, because I'm going to be discussing about the Himouto Umaru-chan anime TV series, which has aired from July 9th, 2015 to September 24th, 2015, which only has 12 episodes for this particular anime series. So without any further ado, let's review this anime series. Let's begin. Yep. Umaru Doma acts lazy at home despite living normally. Wanting to win an online contest, she teaches some tricks to the hamsters. After spending the day with Nana, Umaru and Taihei buy groceries. Umaru invites Nana for a study session. She tries to awaken Taihei in order to pass the time. The next day, Nana receives a giant plushie Umaru won. A few days later, Taihei takes advantage of another encounter with Nana to prevent Umaru from buying a game. That is probably addiction for buying a video game, particularly. What Umaru has always been playing video games. If you ever see Himouto Umaru-chan, particularly. Later, by this time, Nana recalls she moved to Tokyo a year ago from Akita and met Taihei. Umaru procrastinates in study for the next exam. Kairi Motoba sees Umaru in her Himouto form. While returning the photo identification, passing herself off to her sister Komaru, Umaru learns that Kiri is too shy to converse. Umaru gets spooked during a power outage while watching a film. That's what happens when you're watching a TV show, movie, or an anime. A power outage happens. That's why. Yeah. Umaru plays the Claw Crane game to win multiple prizes in a single try. The next day, she and her friends play tennis when Umaru accidentally breaks a Proclane Akobeko given from Alex. She attempts to fix it before Taihei returns home. Umaru participates in the arcade tournament under her alias UMR, inviting Silafin Ford in the finals. However, Silafin Ford loses to Umaru after Alex watches her. Silafin Ford and Umaru play arcade games and become friends with her persona. Umaru uses bath fizzies and goes shopping with her friends. Umaru buys a soda from the store and finds the streets she crosses to be very different and compared to the daytime. Taihei tries to find some way to pass the time from work. He decides to split up the rooms with a certain so he can have his own private space from Umaru, but the siblings soon find it lonely, divided off from each other. Umaru, Taihei, and Kiri play the game of life, where Taihei helps out Kiri during her struggling career. Umaru becomes concerned when Taihei cannot remember her birthday, but he prepares a party. When Taihei inadvertently recycles the box on one of the figures, Umaru goes a little too far in teasing him about it. Become panicked when he goes off to buy a replacement, because that's what happens when you're wanting to buy a replacement when it happens before. And if you see Himouto Umaru-chan anime series, yep. Nana invites Umaru and Taihei to a ramen shop, and Takeshi meets Komaru. A Silafin Ford asks Umaru to take her to an old-fashioned candy store. Taihei gets lost in a residential area, but the president's a cat triggers some nostalgia of when he and Umaru used to walk through there. Taihei works overtime on Christmas Eve, leaving Umaru alone and visiting Kiri. Takeshi visits for New Year's Eve. His cooking and Umaru's snacks end up completely complementing each other. when Kanao spends time with Taihei and Takeshi as well. Meanwhile, Kirei makes a bag of cookies and Nana makes chocolate obvious of whom Umaru wants to give as well. Umaru and Sylphinford visits the shop, bonding over their roles as sisters. Afterwards, Taihei attempts to converse with Kiri before Umaru eats the pudding. After being left alone with a fever she brought upon herself, Umaru plans to exact revenge on Taihei when he gets a cold. Upon discovering his abnormal condition, she saves him. Umaru becomes irritated with peppers Taihei gives, though she soon comes to appreciate the efforts he puts into making her eat it right. When by this time Umaru eventually breaks the internet router, she spends the day at a manga cafe as well. Yeah, you guessed it. This anime series has a manga cafe as well. I mean, if you're looking into the culture, the otaku culture, if you ever watched the anime series Himouto Umaru-chan, anyways, spending time, then she knows what to do with in a flashback. Taihei, Takeshi, and Kanao won a prize at the arcade, which is from the previous events, particularly what you see in Himouto Umaru-chan. Above all this, Nana is invited to have lunch with Umaru and Taihei after bringing ice before Umaru has a serious internal discussion over what snacks to buy, because Umaru always wanted snacks, so there's nothing you can do. Which Umaru wanted snacks, particularly what you see. I mean, what is with addiction with snacks? But that is the questions. But that is the question, anyways. Afterwards, Nana becomes conscious about how much she eats while eating out with Umaru and Taihei, but soon indulges in a parfait alongside Umaru. Later, the rainy season has some adverse effects on Umaru Kiri, prompting Taihei to try and take their minds off of it. That summer, the girls spend time eating ice cream as well. What they do, which you guessed it. Above all of this, wanting to expand opportunity to laze around, Umaru and Taihei rent a car, but he is terrified of driving. If he would have ever got a driver's license, or if he could have learned pretty good to struggle on how he could drive, if he can drive carefully without getting into a wreck. On a holiday trip to Enoshima, Kiri becomes worried and explains how her isolation in class is somewhat related to her feud with Takeshi. Becoming grateful to the sisters and speaking with people better, Umaru, Nana, Kiri, and Sylphinford spend the day at the beach before returning home, as you know. And that's my review on the 2015 Himouto Umaru-chan anime series. I mean, come to think of it, this has brought from a culture of how, and despite all this, a One Punch Man manga has appeared in an episode of Himouto Umaru-chan, as well as a Hatsune Miku figure, which Umaru has shown. That is, if you ever watch this anime series, yeah, because Umaru, however, has always likes to watch a movie or play video games while eating some snacks as well, because that comes from a culture which the otaku culture has all got to do for this anime as well. By this time, because come to think of it, however, the anime series, there is also other anime OV series, which is Himouto Umaru-chan R, which I haven't seen yet, but I'll give it a watch some other time as well. I mean, the plot about Himouto Umaru-chan is about Umaru Doma is a high school girl living with her older brother Taihei at school. Umaru appears to be an ideal student with good looks, top grades, and many talents. However, she turns into a kid-sized or chibi-sized layabout and spends time at home with a hobby addiction, much to Taihei's dismay. Throughout the series, Umaru uses her alternate personality to make friends with others as well. By this time, particularly, I mean, come to think of it, because when I think of the anime series Himouto Umaru-chan, I mean, this has particularly has been produced by Doga Kobo because the series was directed by anime director Masahiko Ota, who is known for his works as a director on he worked on anime such as Sagebe as Kotora-san, as well as Yoake Mayori Riro na Crescent Love, and many of his works on anime, because he is the director who worked on Himouto. Umaru-chan has worked on a bunch of animes that he has directed that he is known for. I mean, come to think of it, however, this is a lot. I noticed that has OVAs on there. There's also Himouto Umaru-chan R, which is basically the second season of Himouto Umaru-chan, but I had to do a discussion first on Himouto Umaru-chan, kind of like I did with my previous anime review on Gravion, which it all has got to me at first, because there are many counter times of the otaku cultures, because I noticed that I see in Himouto Umaru-chan. That was a One Punch Man manga, as well as a Hatsune Miku figure, which you would notice that you see in every episode of Himouto Umaru-chan about the action, the figure replacement, particularly. I mean, come to think of it, Himouto Umaru-chan had an English dub, which is particularly licensed by Sentai Filmworks. However, the manga, only has 12 volumes from March 14th of 2013 until November 9th, 2017. And although the English publisher is licensed by Seven Seas Entertainment, particularly, and yet, come to think of it, this is one of the most ambiguous anime titles that came out of 2015 as well. Up until JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Diamond is Unbreakable arrived as well, particularly. I mean, to the satisfactory results, this comes from a culture about many anime directors and manga artists have dreamed of, but basically what they were doing, creative works that'll basically stand the test of time for the otaku culture, particularly, like how to the results are basically how every manga artist has been starting a manga series, as well as anime directors adapt manga artists' manga story, how they adapt it to an anime series, which is basically how they always have it to take the cake, to have the creative teams what they were doing, creative works that'll basically have to stand the test of time. They have done a number of certain anime adaptations that were based on mangas that you were introduced to the otaku culture. Two are less than the satisfactory results, because despite how the series Himouto Umaru-chan has 12 episodes on there, come to think of it, despite how it's given in the title about how you're feeling pumped up with the otaku culture, to explain about what it is about Himouto Umaru-chan is what it explains about how you are feeling and going all the way up to the top to the otaku culture. If you ever watched the anime series like Himouto Umaru-chan, what it is about this anime. Why? Because the 2015 Himouto Umaru-chan anime series encapsulates only 12 episodes from July 9th, 2015 until September 24th, 2015. So that's going to be it for my anime 2015, yeah. So that's going to be it for my anime review on Himouto Umaru-chan for today's anime review. Thank you for watching, but before we go, here's my thoughts on this. When I first watched this series, I really loved it, because this, despite how I'm becoming an otaku, however, because it's basically how I love watching anime, manga, reading video games, as well as cosplay, because this has got me all the way up to feeling pumped. So help subscribe for content, my anime plan, link in the description below. You share this video on your Twitter, Facebook. If you have Twitter and Facebook account, all social media, be sure to give this video a thumbs up by clicking on the like button. Feel free in the comments in the comment section below. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, Roniki, if you feel joining my channel, especially if you're new to my channel. Hit the notifications bell. Keep it otaku, and I got another anime review next, because we're running out of time. Stay tuned for my next anime review. I got another anime OVA that is another Rumiko Takahashi anime for tomorrow's anime review on Fire Tripper. Stay tuned for my next anime review on Fire Tripper, because you won't want to miss another anime review.